overcome him completely. It has been the perfect moment to dominate the power of a king of everything. It surprises me, but at this moment, I plan to finish you. I can see that if I give you one more chance, this can be catastrophic. Goku would grant a rain of blows to Grand Priest, who would try to defend himself, but it was completely impossible, since this time, although his power began to diminish in a great way, he only had one arm to defend himself, which made it impossible for him to do anything against Goku. Grand Priest would fall to a planet, and he was beginning to crawl like a worm all over the battlefield. Look how low you have fallen, Grand Priest. You, one of the most powerful warriors, who even had an incredible status, are now crawling like one more worm. Damn it, apparently this is my end. None of my techniques is able to finish him, and I do not have enough energy to create an explosion. Goku would stretch one of his hands, with which he would expel a great pressure over the entire body of Grand Priest, while in the same way an incredible sphere of energy began to channel throughout his palm. Do not worry about going to hell, since with this energy I will pulverize your very existence, so I hope you are prepared to disappear completely. Grand Priest, before being able to say anything, the incredible attack would be thrown, which was able to disintegrate him completely. That's right, all the great power of Grand Priest was not able to face the incredible fusion of Goku and Zeno. However, in the same way, the damage that Goku had received was serious, since at that moment, Goku would begin to fall to a planet, but before doing so, he was able to recover. This is the price for using 100% of Zeno's power. I am sure that after this, I will be unconscious for several years, so I have to do it right now. Goku would expel much more power than even his body could bear. Whis and Beerus tried to stop him, but they were not able to destroy the incredible barrier that Goku had been able to place all over the place. Instantly, Goku, with all the power to eliminate a king of everything, was able to reverse it. That's right, Goku was able to obtain the power of creation, but able to restore each of the innocent lives, as well as each planet and star. After a few days, releasing all that incredible power, all 12 universes were able to return to normal. So this time, Goku would begin to descend at great speed. But before he fell brutally, Vegeta was able to hold him. That's how in all that time, there was no king of everything, since in the body of the warrior Son Goku lay the essence of the powerful Zeno. However, in all that time, each god and angel were able to have everything in order until the new king of everything, Goku, completely wakes up. In all this time, I have thought of training much more to become a very powerful being. So, 4 years passed, in which all the energy system of Goku was able to be completely restored. As soon as he recovered, all the warriors would have a great party to celebrate the new position of Goku as king of everything. I really appreciate each and every one of you, since without your help, this would not have been possible. And of course, I will take care of the 12 universes. But before that, it will be better that you have your respective celebration, Mr. Goku. That day, Goku, like all his friends, would have big banquets, so the moment Goku and Vegeta finished eating, Vegeta would watch him closely. Kakarot, I have trained all this time, so I am prepared to test my new power with you. That seems perfect to me. Attack me, Vegeta, and show me all your power. This is how the last battle of the most powerful Saiyans would begin. On a normal day in the life of the inhabitants of planet Earth, people were eating in restaurants, walking with their families, there were children playing, when suddenly a giant ray is seen in the sky that causes a strong movement throughout the earthly surface. Buildings collapsed, people could not stand up, the windows exploded. All this caused car accidents and injuries. At the moment a child was going to be pierced by a giant glass that fell from a building very close there, we see how a being that cannot be distinguished who it is flies through the skies at high speed, rescuing people who were in danger due to the strong movement. At the precise moment when the child was about to die, that being rescues him, seeing how the huge piece of glass explodes from the ground. We see how this hooded being rises from his back, letting us know that he was nothing more, nothing less than Goku, who had been hidden for a long time because Grand Priest and angels want to see him dead. Goku, with a different appearance than the one we all know, after rescuing the child, is surprised by the energy that emerges from the earth to the sky. We can see how Vegeta arrives at the place where Goku is next to the Z-Warriors, who were still saving people from the disaster. Vegeta looks at Goku face to face and says, "Kakarot, insect, where have you been all this time?" At that moment, Gohan and Goten arrive, who tell him, "Dad, where were you? What happened to you, father?" All this happened while Piccolo, Krillin, Trunks, and Android 18 were rescuing people affected by the movement. After having finished saving them, they arrive where they are gathered with Goku and look at him very surprised. In a head-to-head panning, we can see Goku's face very democratized, with pronounced wounds and pommels because he had not tasted any kind of food for a long time. At that moment, we return in time about 20 years ago. We see how Goku, along with his son Goten, are walking together through the forest. Goku, talking to his son, says, "Hey Goten, ready to fish today?" To which Goten responds, "Yes, Dad. Will you teach me the fastest way to catch them?" Goku, happy for his son's enthusiasm, answers, "Of course, Goten, but this time I'm going to try something different. Look at this." Goku dives into the water, and after a short time, he jumps with a huge fish that moved in his hands. Goten, very surprised, tells his father, "Wow, Dad, how did you do that?" Goku, showing an expression of great joy, says, "When I was little like you, Goten, I had to look for my own food to be able to live. You should try it." Goten, very excited, tells his father, "I will try." And so Goten dives into the water before his father's happy eyes, to which in the first attempt, Goten fails to catch any fish. Seeing Goten's sad face, Goku encourages his son, saying, "Don't worry, Goten, it's a matter of practice and patience. The key is to be fast and not scare the fish." Then Goten dives again, but this time it takes a long time to get out, when suddenly Goku feels a powerful ki very close to where he was. Because of this, Goku, worried about his son, dives in his search. Once inside the water, he sees Goten passed out, and next to him a very strange artifact. Goku, worried about the state in which his son was, approaches swimming at high speed to rescue him. At the moment he was about to lift his son in his arms, ready to go to the surface, the strange artifact begins to emit a very high-pitched sound that only Goku hears, who, with a face of confusion and pain, tries to lift his son, but suddenly said artifact detaches from the ground and impregnates his chest. Once in his chest, the artifact stops emitting that strange sound, and Goku stops feeling the ki of a moment ago. Goku does not care what had happened to him, and worried about his son, lifts him up to be able to get out of the water. Once out, Goku puts his son on the ground to be able to revive him when suddenly an unknown being appears to him. This being had a green-haired fur, blue hair with black tips, had a very strange appearance, but it did not seem to be something real. It looked like an illusion. Goku, realizing this being, becomes alert and puts his son in good protection. After that, heading to said being, asks him, "Who are you? What do you want here?" This being, without uttering a word, launches at great speed towards Goku, who, in an act of reflection, manages to dodge the first blow, but the speed of the unknown surpassed him in great quantity. Because of that, after dodging the first blow, said being kicks his head with a kick, to which Goku barely manages to block, leaving his stomach uncovered, where he takes the opportunity to hit a direct punch, automatically knocking Goku out of air. And so he finishes off with a blow to the neck. Goku, when he was about to lose his consciousness, heard a voice in the distance that says, "Apparently, this is the best guest I could touch," saying this sarcastically. "I hope my companions are in good condition." After hearing those words, Goku faints. A few minutes after the fleeting confrontation, Goku regains consciousness, and when realizing that said unknown being was no longer in the place, he looks for Goten, and when he finds him, begins to say his name repeatedly for him to react. Seeing that there was no effect when calling him, he feels his breathing and notices that he hardly breathed. He creates a sphere of energy in his hand and places it on Goten's chest. Once Goten receives his father's energy, he reacts and spits water out of his mouth. Goten, with a disconcerted expression, asks his father what had happened, to which Goku says, "I have the same question as you. What happened?" Goten tells him that at the precise moment he was about to capture the fish, he felt attracted by said artifact, which also tried to impregnate his chest. At the time of doing so, Goten felt a strong source of energy that ran through each part of his body, which was very difficult to control, and he felt how that strange energy weakened him until he lost consciousness and passed out. Goku, in his thought, said that he also felt the same strange and very powerful energy run through his whole body, and worried about his son, asked him if he still felt that energy inside him. Goten, calm and a little disconcerted, told him no, that he only felt it when the artifact was trying to impregnate him. At the same time that this happened on Earth, Whis and Beerus went to the Kingdom of Everything to be able to talk with Grand Priest, as they had noticed him very tense and worried. Once they were already in the Kingdom of Everything, Grand Priest appears with a very serious expression, while Whis and Beerus bow to him to show respect. Grand Priest, relieved to see that Whis and Beerus were with him, tells them something very strange and dangerous is about to happen. Whis, with an expression of bewilderment, asks him, "What happens, Father? We noticed some tension in the air when reaching the Kingdom of Everything." Beerus, sighing without realizing the seriousness of the matter, tells him, "Again, problems? What can be so dangerous to make Grand Priest so worried, serious and worried about the Great Priest?" To which Grand Priest responds, "Yes, I am afraid so. A powerful entity has resurfaced, one that we have not faced in a long time." Whis, with a serious expression, asks him, "An unknown entity? Could it be one of the beings we left sealed a long time ago?" "It is possible. Whis, their energies are as dark as disconcerting. I cannot identify the source for sure, but their power is overwhelming." Beerus, frowning, says, "And why should we worry about that? If it is so strong, I will go and destroy it." Grand Priest, with a very serious expression, answers him, "It is not so simple, Lord Beerus. This entity seems to have the ability to challenge even the oldest gods. We cannot underestimate it." Whis, thoughtful, asks his father, "How do you suggest that we act in this situation, Father?" We need to gather information before acting hastily.
Wish, Beerus, I recommend the task of investigating. Discover everything you can about this entity and any weakness you may have. Beerus, smiling confidently, exclaimed, "Well, well, a little action will not hurt." Wish, attentive, responds, "We will be on the way, Grand Priest, but keep in mind that if this entity threatens our universe, we will not hesitate to take drastic measures." I understand, Wish. May wisdom guide your actions and return with the information we need. After that conversation, Wish and Beerus depart for the unknown destination until that moment, while Grand Priest watches with concern, aware of the seriousness of the situation that is approaching in the Kingdom of Everything. When they were on their way back to Earth to ask for the help of Goku and Vegeta, Wish remembered that when they were on their way to the Kingdom of Everything, he felt a very strong and dangerous key on planet Earth. In the middle of his search in the universe, he stops, and Beerus, confused, tells Wish, "What's up? Why are you stopping?" "Oh, my dear Lord Beerus, it turns out that on our way to the Kingdom of Everything, I detected a quite intriguing presence." Beerus, frowning, asks him, "A mysterious entity? Didn't we have enough with what Grand Priest told us?" Wish, with a nervous smile, answers him, "Don't worry, Lord Beerus. This doesn't seem to be a direct threat. I just felt a fleeting flash of power, something that crossed our path." Beerus, pronouncing the sign, recriminates Wish, "And you didn't care? Isn't that what Grand Priest was talking about?" "Well, the truth is that I didn't consider it an immediate threat. It was like a flash of powerful energy, but it disappeared as fast as it came. It didn't seem to have hostile intentions." Beerus, overthinking the situation, asks him, "And what are we going to do then? Grand Priest wants us to investigate something like that." "Yes, but I think the best option is to go ahead with our main mission. Investigate the entity that resurfaced. This fleeting presence can be a mere detail compared to what awaits us." So Wish and Beerus followed their path through the universe, looking for the entity that Grand Priest mentioned, without giving so much importance to what happened on Earth. Back on Earth, at the very moment that Goku rescued his son, Goten, Goku, confused by what had happened to his son, and with the strange artifact he had impregnated in his chest, told Goku, "Let's go home right away." While they were flying home, Goku tried to feel Vegeta's key to teleport with him. He will barely leave his son with his mother, Chi-Chi. At that moment, we see how Vegeta was already reunited with the Z Warriors, Krillin, Android 18, Piccolo, Grand Priest, Chaos, Gohan, Trunks of the Future, and Master Roshi, who were talking about the strong and dark energy they had felt. Goku and Goten arrive at home, and their mother, worried because they had taken a long time to return, runs to Goten and says, "Goten, son, are you okay?" To which Goten responds, "Don't worry, Mom, we're fine." Chi-Chi raises his head towards Goku and notices that he is very serious. He lowers his gaze a little and realizes the strange artifact he had in his chest. Chi-Chi asks him, "Goku, what is that you have there? Are you okay?" Goku changes his expression immediately, and with a fake smile he answers, "Oh, this? Don't worry, it's nothing important." Chi-Chi very insistently tells him, "Goku, don't fool me. What happened?" "What I have in my chest." He changes his expression again, very serious. "This very strange artifact that I have in my chest. Well, it's a strange artifact, but I'm fine, really. I'm going to find out what it is and we will continue with our lives." Chi-Chi, worried about Goku, hugs him and tells him, "Promise me you'll come back, Goku." To which Goku, with a smile, answers, "Yes," while he was about to do the teleportation. Goku says goodbye to them by telling Goten, "Take care of your mother, I'll be back." He teleports.
Moments before Goku got to meet the Z Warriors as they were at Bulma's house, they were talking about what they had felt a moment ago. Vegeta, with a very serious expression, asks, "Has anyone else felt that dark energy? I can't identify it, but it's disturbing." Piccolo, frowning, answers, "Yes, I felt it. It's like it disappeared immediately as soon as we felt it. Something is not right." Gohan, very worried, says, "Dad and Goten is with my mother. We should look for them." At that moment, Goku appears in front of them by means of the teleportation, and he says it seriously. "Guys, I felt a strange presence. Something happened to Goten, but I rescued him." Piccolo, analyzing everything that happened, notices something strange in Goku's body and asks him, "Goku, and that artifact on your chest? That's what I want to find out. But before that, I need to tell you something." Before the expectant and uncertain look of everyone, he tells them, "The strange energy they felt comes from this artifact on my chest." Vegeta, frowning, questions him, "How is it possible? Does this artifact emit that energy?" Goku, somewhat worried, sits down and says, "It seems so. The moment I rescued Goten, this artifact impregnated my chest, and I began to feel an incredible amount of power going through each part of my body." Piccolo, thinking about everything that he was telling Goku, asks him, "And how did it get to your chest?" Goku answers, "The artifact was under the water right next to Goten, who had fainted, and when I was approaching it, it emitted a very sharp sound that did not allow me to approach Goten. After everything that had happened to Goten, I tried to get it out, but when I did it again, it impregnated my chest again. We have to find out what this artifact is and why it has a lot of power. I count on you." Vegeta, descending, says, "Let's do it. We will not let any threat take us unawares." Trunks of the future seriously tells everyone, "I agree. Together we will find out what is happening." Goku thanks all his friends for the support that they were giving him, but at that moment he changes his expression of joy for an expression of seriousness, since he remembered what had happened just before he lost consciousness. Gohan, noticing the sudden change of expression of his father, asks him, "Dad, what's up? Is there anything else you have to tell us?" Vegeta adds, "Insect, you're not hiding anything from us, isn't it?" Goku remembered what had happened at that moment with an expression of concern and anger. He tells them about the fight he had with an unknown being who surpassed his strength by a lot, and remember that said entity mentioned that he had companions and that he hoped they would meet well. Piccolo, with fear but serene, says to Goku, "Are you sure of what you're telling us? Since what you tell us is very dangerous. If it surpasses your strength by a lot, in that case, we would not have opportunity to face him. We would be a nuisance more than a support, Goku."
Goku, after hearing this, tells him what he felt in the confrontation. "At the moment that the unknown being appeared, I felt the same amount and type of power and the dark liquid that ran through my body as the strange artifact impregnated my chest. As soon as Goku finished telling what had happened, as soon as he came out of the water, Piccolo came up with an idea. It was not so crazy, but it could explain that it was said strange artifact and why he faced this unknown being." Piccolo, observing the artifact, goes to Goku saying, "This seems familiar to me. It may be similar to a containment urn, similar to the ones we use in the Mafuba to seal powerful beings." Goku, surprised, answers, "Seriously, Piccolo? Do you think this could be something like that?" Krillin, observing the artifact, says, "A similar artifact to the one used in the Mafuba in Goku's chest? Since when did the battles become so complicated? There is always something new with you Saiyans." Master Roshi, somewhat enthusiastic but at the same time serious, exclaimed, "Oh, the Mafuba! I remember when we sealed Saiyans. King Piccolo with that. Do you think Goku has such a strong enemy inside?" Trunks of the future, analyzing what is happening, says, "It makes sense. Mafuba's urns are powerful devices to contain evil energies.
Could this artifact have sealed something? It does not matter if it is from Mafuba or anywhere else. I just want to know how to get rid of that threat once and for all. Piccolo nodding his head. It is a possibility. The urns are used to keep very strong enemies under control. But why did Goku adhere to them? I'm not sure, but what I do know is that this energy is linked to a very powerful entity. Whoever it is, if it is linked to that artifact, we cannot underestimate it. So what are you planning to do, Kakarot? At that moment, the Coyote-sama of the North telepathically communicates with Goku to tell him that he had information about the powerful energy they felt and the mysterious artifact that is impregnated in his chest, which is approaching his planet quickly. First, we need information. Coyote-sama has the information about this artifact and the being that could be found inside. We must go where Coyote-sama to be able to know who we are facing. Vegeta rises with his head and Goku continues. Exactly. But first, I need your help. If there are more entities like these, the Earth could be in danger, and with this connection with the artifact, I could put them at risk. So I will only go where Coyote-sama to get the information and be able to get rid of this artifact. Vegeta, very angry, says, Kakarot, don't even think you'll do this alone. I'll go with you, Insect. I can't accept that you become stronger than me. Goku accepts and asks him to put his hand on his shoulder. They teleport to the planet of Coyote-sama. Once Goku and Vegeta left, the Z-Warriors felt unknown presence on the planet, so they split into groups and flew at high speed to investigate. With the revelation that the artifact in Goku's chest could be similar to a containment urn, similar to those used in the Mafuba, the Z-Warriors face an increasingly complex and dangerous situation. The uncertainty about what this artifact contains and how it is connected to the mysterious dark energy fills them with concern. While Goku and Vegeta went where Coyote-sama and the Z-Warriors went to investigate the unknown presences they had detected in space, Whis and Beerus, after having traveled much of the space, felt a strong amount of dark energy, so they went immediately to where it was. When they were about to reach the source of the dark energy, the air pressure becomes more intense as they approached, and the unknown entity awaits their arrival. Why do I feel that this will be more complicated than we thought? Beerus, the information we get here could be crucial to understand the threat we will face on Earth. The unknown entity surrounded by a dark aura reveals itself in front of Whis and Beerus. Its presence is overwhelming, and a sinister laugh resounds in space. The unknown entity mockingly welcomes them and says, I was waiting for your arrival. You took longer than I expected. Do not underestimate the gods. We are here to stop any threat that puts our universe in danger. Before any confrontation, can you tell us who you are and what you do here? Oh, how fun! I am known as Ryuki, disciple of the Devourer of Worlds, and I have come to free the Master, the most powerful being that has ever existed. The expression on the faces of Whis and Beerus become more serious when they hear the name Ryuki. Ryuki! That name sounds familiar to me. Ryuki is an ancient threat. Beerus, his master, he and his other disciples were sealed millennia ago due to their insatiable thirst for power and destruction. Then it seems that we have a problem, but this time it will be as easy as sealing them again. The space is filled with palpable tension, while Ryuki, surrounded by a dark and malevolent aura, faces Whis and Beerus. The dark energy emanating from him seems to distort the same tissue of space around him. Problem, you say? You are right, little god. The Master has been patiently waiting for his release. And now, with my arrival, that moment has finally arrived. Beerus is in a fighting position with a determined expression on his face, while Whis remains serene but alert. I don't have time for your games. If your master is a threat, we will stop you here and now. Tell us more about your master. Understanding his motivations could help us find a peaceful solution. Ryuki laughs with malice, revealing his sharp fangs, and then disappears in a dark flash before reappearing behind Beerus with an amazing speed. There is nothing you can do to stop the inevitable resurgence of the Master, but before that, you could entertain me. The battle begins. Ryuki throws a quick punch at Beerus, but the destructive god dodges agilely and responds with an energy blow that Ryuki blocks easily. Meanwhile, Whis observes carefully, waiting for the right time to intervene. Ryuki's speed is impressive, but Beerus manages to keep up with the pace. They exchange blows and energy bursts in a fight that seems to defy the laws of space and time. Ryuki's same dark energy distorted reality around him, making each impact more intense and dangerous. Beerus, your speed is amazing, but that dark energy is problematic. I suggest you be careful with your movements. Ryuki sits down while dodging an enemy attack and counterattacks with a wave of energy. Ryuki, unnoticed, vanishes and reappears in front of Whis, challenging him to enter the fight. And you, assistant of the god, will you dare to face me? Whis smiles calmly and disappears in a flash, just to reappear behind Ryuki. I have no intention of fighting, but if that is what you want... Before Whis finishes his phrase,
Ryuk turns around and throws a fierce attack at him. Whis, with his extraordinary speed, dodges each blow with grace. The space was convulsed with the fury of the cosmic confrontation between Whis, Beerus, and Ryuk. Each movement destroyed reality itself, while Ryuk's dark energy and the divine gusts of the gods were intertwined in a demonstration of opposing forces. Ryuk, with his ominous figure wrapped in a dark aura, moved at an impressive speed. His sinister laugh resonated through space, challenging the gods who faced him. This guy is faster than I thought. While Beerus's words fade, Ryuk disappears in a blink of an eye and reappears in front of him with a fistful of dark energy. Beerus manages to block the attack, but the force of impact sends shockwaves through space. Ryuk separates from Beerus with a mocking smile, and in a flash, he leaps towards Whis. His movements were fluid. Whis, on the other hand, moves elegantly, dodging each blow with the grace of a cosmic dancer. This dark power is intriguing, but it is out of balance. Ryuk, frustrated by Whis's evasive ability, concentrates his dark energy in his hands and throws it like a flash. Whis responds by creating an energy barrier, but the resulting collision sends shockwaves through space, shaking the nearby stars. Beerus takes advantage of Ryuk's distraction and throws himself at him with a punch full of divine energy. Ryuk blocks the blow, but the resulting force causes an explosion that creates a supernova ephemeral in the cosmos. The fight continues at an unparalleled speed. Ryuk demonstrates his skill by anticipating the movements of the gods, while Beerus and Whis unleash their divine power to counteract the darkness that threatens to envelop them. In a moment of pause, Ryuk smiles maliciously, and his dark aura begins to intensify. A transformation was underway. The darkness concentrated around his body, forming a kind of dark cocoon that breaks, revealing a transformed figure. Now Ryuk has evolved. His previous form pales in comparison to the manifestation of his current power. His figure has become more imposing, with twisted shadows dancing around him as if they were extensions of his own essence. The sharp fangs shine with a dark splendor, and his eyes emit a malevolent light. This is just a glimpse of my true power. Beerus and Whis exchange a worried look. The pressure in the air becomes even more intense. Ryuk, now in his transformed form, throws himself at the gods with an outstanding speed. Beerus tries to counterattack with a sphere of divine energy, but Ryuk dodges each projectile easily, moving among the flashes of light with supernatural agility. Meanwhile, Whis remains in reserve, watching the fight with analytical eyes. In a quick blink, Ryuk appears in front of Beerus and unleashes a series of ferocious blows. The sonic sounds of punches and kicks resonate in space,
while the gods and the disciple of the Devourer of Worlds is immersed in a frenzy of combat. Beerus, struggling to keep up with Ryuk's speed, receives a direct blow to the stomach that sends him drifting into space. However, before he can recover, Ryuk throws himself at him and attacks him with a rain of blows. The situation becomes even more complicated when Ryuk, in a ruthless act, concentrates dark energy in his hand and pierces it through Beerus's abdomen. The destructive god releases a roar of pain while the darkness spreads from the point of impact. Whis, seeing the raw reality, takes action. His figure flashes in space as he stands in front of Ryuk, blocking his attacks. "I can't allow you to hurt my lord like this." Whis' divine energy collides with Ryuk's darkness in a show of cosmic power. The battle intensifies, and the fate of the universe hangs by a thread, while the confrontation between light and darkness reaches its apex. The confrontation between Whis and Ryuk intensified as space became the stage of his ferocious cosmic battle. The clash of divine and dark energies resonated in the vacuum of the universe, creating waves that extended to the confines of space. "Do you think you can stop me, Whis?" The master of divine martial arts, Whis, maintained his serene composure while resisting the clashes of the disciple of the Devourer of Worlds. His divine aura shone with intensity, fighting against the darkness that threatened to envelop him. Whis, with a gesture from his hand, unleashed a burst of divine energy that forced Ryuk to retreat momentarily. However, the smile on the face of the dark being revealed that he was far from surrendering. "Ryuk, your search for power will only lead you to destruction." Ryuk, releasing a sinister laugh, rushed towards Whis with renewed ferocity. Each exchange of blows was like a clash of titans, with the fate of the universe hanging in the balance. Meanwhile, Whis, still recovering from the wounds inflicted by Ryuk, watched the battle with critical eyes. The darkness that had crossed his abdomen began to dissipate thanks to the divine regeneration, but the experience had left an indelible mark on him. "This creature is more formidable than I imagined." Decided not to be a mere spectator, Beerus joined the battle with renewed determination. His figure shone with a divine energy that rivaled that of Whis, creating a show of lights and shadows in space. The three powerful beings entwined in a cosmic dance with flashes of divine and dark energy, illuminating the vastness of the universe. Ryuk turns around and throws a fierce attack at him. Whis, with his extraordinary speed, dodges each blow with grace. The space was convulsed with the fury of the cosmic confrontation between Whis, Beerus, and Ryuk. Each movement destroyed reality itself, while Ryuk's dark energy and the divine gusts of the gods were intertwined in a demonstration of opposing forces. Ryuk, with his ominous figure wrapped in a dark aura, moved at an impressive speed. His sinister laugh resonated through space, challenging the gods who faced him. "This guy is faster than I thought." While Beerus's words fade, Ryuk disappears in a blink of an eye and reappears in front of him with a fistful of dark energy. Beerus manages to block the attack, but the force of impact sends shockwaves through space. Ryuk separates from Beerus with a mocking smile, and in a flash, he leaps towards Whis. His movements were fluid. Whis, on the other hand, moves elegantly, dodging each blow with the grace of a cosmic dancer. This dark power is intriguing, but it is out of balance. Ryuk, frustrated by Whis' evasive ability, concentrates his dark energy in his hands and throws it like a flash. Whis responds by creating an energy barrier, but the resulting collision sends shockwaves through space, shaking the nearby stars. Beerus takes advantage of Ryuk's distraction and throws himself at him with a punch full of divine energy. Ryuk blocks the blow, but the resulting force causes an explosion that creates a supernova ephemeral in the cosmos. The fight continues at an unparalleled speed. Ryuk demonstrates his skill by anticipating the movements of the gods, while Beerus and Whis unleash their divine power to counteract the darkness that threatens to envelop them. In a moment of pause, Ryuk smiles maliciously, and his dark aura begins to intensify. A transformation was underway. The darkness concentrated around his body, forming a kind of dark cocoon that breaks, revealing a transformed figure. Now Ryuk has evolved. His previous form pales in comparison to the manifestation of his current power. His figure has become more imposing, with twisted shadows dancing around him as if they were extensions of his own essence. The sharp fangs shine with a dark splendor, and his eyes emit a malevolent light. This is just a glimpse of my true power. Beerus and Whis exchange a worried look. The pressure in the air becomes even more intense. Ryuk, now in his transformed form, throws himself at the gods with an outstanding speed. Beerus tries to counterattack with a sphere of divine energy, but Ryuk dodges each projectile easily, moving among the flashes of light with supernatural agility. Meanwhile, Whis remains in reserve, watching the fight with analytical eyes. In a quick blink, Ryuk appears in front of Beerus and unleashes a series of ferocious blows. The sonic sounds of punches and kicks resonate in space, while the gods and the disciple of the Devourer of Worlds is immersed in a frenzy of combat. Beerus, struggling to keep up with Ryuk's speed, receives a direct blow to the stomach that sends him drifting into space. However, before he can recover, Ryuk throws himself at him and attacks him with a rain of blows. The situation becomes even more complicated when Ryuk, in a ruthless act, concentrates dark energy in his hand and pierces it through Beerus's abdomen. The destructive god releases a roar of pain while the darkness spreads from the point of impact. Whis, seeing the raw reality, takes action. His figure flashes in space as he stands in front of Ryuk, blocking his attacks. "I can't allow you to hurt my lord like this." Whis' divine energy collides with Ryuk's darkness in a show of cosmic power. The battle intensifies, and the fate of the universe hangs by a thread, while the confrontation between light and darkness reaches its apex. The confrontation between Whis and Ryuk intensified as space became the stage of his ferocious cosmic battle. The clash of divine and dark energies resonated in the vacuum of the universe, creating waves that extended to the confines of space. "Do you think you can stop me, Whis?" The master of divine martial arts, Whis, maintained his serene composure while resisting the clashes of the disciple of the Devourer of Worlds. His divine aura shone with intensity, fighting against the darkness that threatened to envelop him. Whis, with a gesture from his hand, unleashed a burst of divine energy that forced Ryuk to retreat momentarily. However, the smile on the face of the dark being revealed that he was far from surrendering. "Ryuk, your search for power will only lead you to destruction." Ryuk, releasing a sinister laugh, rushed towards Whis with renewed ferocity. Each exchange of blows was like a clash of titans, with the fate of the universe hanging in the balance. Meanwhile, Whis, still recovering from the wounds inflicted by Ryuk, watched the battle with critical eyes. The darkness that had crossed his abdomen began to dissipate thanks to the divine regeneration, but the experience had left an indelible mark on him. "This creature is more formidable than I imagined." Decided not to be a mere spectator, Beerus joined the battle with renewed determination. His figure shone with a divine energy that rivaled that of Whis, creating a show of lights and shadows in space. The three powerful beings entwined in a cosmic dance with flashes of divine and dark energy, illuminating the vastness of the universe. Ryuk, not losing his mocking smile, took advantage of his transformation to increase his speed and strength, defying the gods with each movement. The battle reached new levels of complexity when Whis, in a flash of wits, unleashed a technique of divine teleportation. He moved at the speed of thought, appearing and disappearing at different points in space, keeping Ryuk on the defensive. "You can't dodge me forever, Whis!" While Whis and Ryuk faced each other in space, Beerus focused on channeling his divine energy. The destructive god plunged into a meditative state, concentrating on releasing his true power. Beerus's transformation was gradual but shocking. His figure enveloped in a golden aura, and his eyes shone with the intensity of a star. The divine power flowed through him, manifesting in a way that only the most powerful gods could achieve, allowing the serious wound that left Ryuk to be healed. It's time to put an end to this. The reborn Beerus threw himself at Ryuk at an unparalleled speed. Each blow he took was imbued with overwhelming divine energy. Ryuk, although powerful, was overwhelmed by the investment of the destructive god. Meanwhile, Whis continued his cosmic ballet, defying the laws of space and time with his speed and agility. Each movement was calculated, each blow strategically executed. The battle reached its peak when Whis and Beerus coordinated, combining their attacks to create a symphony of divine energy that enveloped Ryuk. The pressure in the air became almost tangible, and the cosmos itself seemed to crumble with the intensity of the conflict. "Do you have something to say, Ryuk?"
Ryuk, seriously wounded but still challenging, let out a shrill laugh. His figure twisted as the dark energy tried to resist the overwhelming pressure of the gods. "This is not the end, gods. My master will be released, and his darkness will devour everything." Beerus, without showing mercy, unleashed a sphere of concentrated divine energy and threw it directly at Ryuk. The resulting explosion illuminated space, dissipating the darkness that had persisted. The silence seized the space while the gods watched the remains of the battle. Ryuk lay motionless, defeated but not destroyed. His threat had been contained, at least for now. "This is not over. We need to discover more about your master and any threat that may arise." Whis agreed, sharing the same determination. The reality of the danger lurking in the universe became more evident, and the gods knew they had to prepare to face even greater challenges. The cosmic explosion that marked the end of the fierce battle dissipated into the vast space, leaving Whis and Beerus floating in momentary tranquility. As they regained their composure, a golden flash announced the arrival of Grand Priest, the Great Priest, who appeared before them with a serene but worried expression. "I see you have successfully faced the threat, dear Whis and Beerus." "Yes, Father. Ryuk has been contained, at least for now. But this is not the end, is it?" Grand Priest smiled with wisdom as he held in his hands a strange artifact, a shining sphere that emanated an energy similar to the one they felt during the battle. "This is what I want to show you. It is known as the Divine Containment Sphere, an ancient artifact capable of sealing beings of great power and darkness." Beerus and Whis observed carefully while Grand Priest explained the function of the sphere and how it was used to keep the most dangerous entities in the universe at bay. This artifact has been kept in secret for millions, only extracting light in extreme situations. The dark energy they felt came from one of these sealed entities, released by Ryuk's imprudence. Whis and Beerus exchanged worried looks as they assimilated the information.
Who are these sealed entities? They are beings from a distant past, fallen gods and creatures whose thirst for power made them uncontrollable. The divine containment sphere is our safeguard against their resurgence. So Ryuke was one of them, and his master. His master is the devourer of worlds, an even older and more dangerous being. His release could put the very existence in danger. The gravity of the situation was in the air, while Grand Priest continued to explain the importance of keeping the divine containment sphere safe and sealing Ryuke again. Now that Ryuke has been contained, it is crucial that he returns to his place of refuge, but we also need to obtain information from him. We need to know more about the plans of the Devourer of Worlds and any additional threat that may arise. Beerus, Whis, and Grand Priest shared a determined look. The task was not complete. There was still work to do. If we interrogate Ryuke, he will give us answers. We will do it, but we must act with caution. The information we obtain is essential to prepare us for future threats. We also need to reinforce the security of the divine containment sphere. Grand Priest, with a head tilt, showed his approval of the decision of the gods. Very well, let's go back to the kingdom of everything, and let's get the preparations going. The security of the universe depends on us. The three gods with the shining sphere in their hands teleported back to the kingdom of everything, ready to face the shadows of the past and ensure the stability of the universe. The divine containment sphere, now more than ever, it became the hope in the middle of the darkness that threatened to emerge. Meanwhile on Earth, the Z-Warriors, divided into groups, they scattered in the sky towards the unknown presences that they had felt on the planet of Kaiozama in the north. In the air, they moved at impressive speeds, ready to face any threat that crossed their path. On the planet of Kaiozama, Goku and Vegeta appeared thanks to the teleportation, scaring Kaiozama with serious and determined expressions. Kaiozama, who was waiting for them, welcomed them with nervous gestures. "Goku, Vegeta, I'm glad you came so quickly. The information I have is crucial. We need to know what this artifact is and what threat it represents. We don't have time to lose. What do you know?" Kaiozama ascended and led the Saiyans to his little house on the planet. Once inside, he deployed an old parchment that revealed information about a mystical artifact known as the cosmic nucleus of containment. He explained that this artifact was used by the ancient gods to seal entities of great evil and power, preventing them from causing havoc in the universe. This artifact is so old that there is hardly any record of its creation. It was believed to be lost, but apparently all this time it was hidden on planet Earth. And how is it supposed to be sealed? Tell us at once. Kaiozama explained that the cosmic nucleus of containment could be opened by a being of great power. But by doing so, the seal would be transferred to the first being to come into contact with. If the seal was not broken immediately, it would merge with that being, granting him power, but also binding him to the duty of keeping evil sealed. And how the hell did it end up in Goku's chest? That's what's disconcerting. It seems that this artifact chose Goku as its bearer. Goku, with an expression of amazement, began to understand the magnitude of the situation. Now he was the bearer of an artifact that contained an indescribable evil entity. So you mean that now I am responsible for keeping this evil under control? What an honor, Kakarot! It seems that you have become the guardian of evil. But there is something else. The sealed being within the Uru is incredibly powerful. He is known as Bahamut, the Devourer of Worlds, an ancient entity that has consumed entire worlds. The gravity of the situation was reflected in Goku and Vegeta's faces. They not only had to face the mysterious artifact in Goku's chest, but also the dark entity sealed inside. So we have an important task. We must keep Bahamut under control, and at the same time discover how to get rid of this burden. Yes, but don't get confused, Kakarot. If this threatens Earth, I will not hesitate to stop you. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Z Warriors faced an unusual pressure while preparing for combat. Each group was ready to deal with the entities they had felt at Bulma's house, which were Bahamut Sakuyas, the devourer of worlds. The dark energy that surrounded these Sakuyas was intense, and the air itself seemed to vibrate with its malevolent presence. Krillin's group, Master Roshi, and Android 19 met one of Bahamut's 4 Sakuyas, which were on Earth humanoids with a black and malevolent Farah. The Z Warriors prepared for the confrontation, with Krillin, Android 18, and Master Roshi adopting combat postures. In a chaotic dance of dark energy and titillating explosions, the confrontation between the Z Warriors and Bahamut Sakuyas unfolded on the cosmic stage of Earth's defense. Krillin, Android 18, and Master Roshi, 3 warriors of different experiences and skills, faced a dark threat that threatened to consume the planet in an abyss of destruction.
The stage was impregnated with a tense atmosphere, while the 3 warriors adopted combat postures, ready to defend the Earth against Bahamut Sakuyas, a being whose malevolent aura even eclipsed the intensity of the sun. "I don't know who you are, but we won't let you hurt our planet." Krillin's words resonated in the air, charged with determination. Bahamut Sakuyas, a humanoid, being with a black and malevolent aura. He advanced ferociously, launching dark attacks. Krillin, in a display of amazing agility, he dodged the attacks, moving like a gust of wind in the battlefield. Kionzan. In a blink, Krillin created his characteristic disc of energy and threw it towards the Sakuyas. The Kionzan turned ferociously, tearing the air as it headed towards its goal. However, the Sakuyas demonstrated an unmatched skill when dodging the rotating attack, moving with an agility that defied understanding. The Sakuyas counterattacked with a series of dark and fast blows, but Krillin was not willing to give up. With precise and fast movements, he blocked most of the attacks, responding with fast and precise counterattacks. The combat dance between Krillin and the Sakuyas painted a picture of speed and skill, where each movement could change the course of the battle. Meanwhile, Master Roshi, the old warrior with a vast experience in martial arts, he observed concentration, and with a wise smile, he adopted a firm posture, waiting for his moment to intervene. "You have chosen the wrong man to fight. I have seen more battles than you can imagine." When Bahamut Sakuyas launched towards Master Roshi, he moved with a unique grace, dodging attacks with precise movements, and counterattacking with a series of energy bursts. The experience and cunning of the old man proved to be a formidable challenge for the Sakuyas, who was forced to deploy all his skills to face the master. On the other hand, Android 18, the android warrior with a formidable strength, he advanced towards the Sakuyas with determination. His eyes shone with an intense blue light while unleashing his powerful android energy. Do not underestimate the strength of androids. With a quick movement of his hands, Android 18 launched an energy wave towards the Sakuyas. The latter, although impressed by the ferocity of the android warrior, did not show signs of retreat. Instead, he launched towards it with surprising speed, launching dark blows that Android 18 dodged with cybernetic agility. The battle between Android 18 and the Sakuyas was a display of strength and speed, with energy explosions that illuminated the sky. Both
fought with an intensity that could shake the foundations of the universe. Meanwhile, Android 18, a formidable warrior created by Dr. Gero, he was ready to demonstrate his immense power. He charged his energy, his body radiated a red glow, and launched towards the sequoias with determination. "Do not underestimate me. I am stronger than you think." The sequoias responded with a sudden increase in its dark aura, unleashing a wave of energy that pushed Android 18 back. The force of the impact created an expansive wave, lifting dust and debris in its wake. The battle was intense. Each movement had a purpose, and each attack resonated with the determination of the Z-Warriors to protect their home. The energy explosions happened, illuminating the battlefield like fireworks on the dark night of space. However, the true magnitude of the threat was not yet fully revealed. This sequoias was only one of the 4 sent by Mahamud, and the fate of the Earth depended on the ability of the Z-Warriors to overcome this first test. On the horizon, the other 3 sequoias kept their turn, prepared to go into the cold and test the courage and skills of the defenders of the Earth. The intensity of the battle increased with each moment, while Krillin, Master Roshi, and Android 18 fought against the sequoias. Another group of Z-Warriors faced similar challenges in different parts of the planet. Hanging in the delicate equilibrium of the cosmic battle that unfolded, and each warrior was determined to see it all for the survival of his home. While the first group of warriors was defending the land, on the planet of Kaiosama, in the small house, it was impregnated with a tense atmosphere and solemnity, while Goku, Vegeta, and Kaiosama were immersed in the gravity of the situation. The ancient parchment deployed on the table revealed the secrets of an ancestral artifact, and the weight that now fell on Goku's shoulders. "So, you mean that now I am responsible for keeping this evil under control?" The responsibility rested on Goku like a heavy burden. The cosmic nucleus of contention is an ancestral artifact. It had chosen Goku as its bearer, and inside him was Mahamud, the devourer of worlds. The gravity of the situation was reflected in the eyes of the Saiyan, who was already mentally preparing for the colossal task ahead. "What an honor, Kakarot! It seems that you have become the guardian of evil." The irony in Vegeta's voice did not go unnoticed. Although his words could have been sarcastic, the determination in his eyes indicated that, despite any joke, they were in this together. But there is something else. Being sealed within the artifact, Mahamud is incredibly powerful. The information left Goku and Vegeta in silence. Mahamud. The name resonated in their minds like an echo distant from a storm that is approaching. Consuming entire worlds was a threat that they could not underestimate. So, we have an important task. We must keep Mahamud under control and at the same time discover how to get rid of this burden. The pact was sealed. Together, Goku and Vegeta would assume the challenge of containing Mahamud and discover a way to get rid of the burden they now carried. The pending question was how they would face the dark entity that lay in Goku's chest, but before they could formulate a plan, a vibration in the air alerted them to the arrival of others. "It seems that your friends are in trouble. Go help them." Goku and Vegeta agreed in a gesture of understanding, and with serious expressions they headed towards the door. With a powerful jump, they threw themselves into the sky, ready to join the battle that was taking place on planet Earth. At the time that Kaiosama gave information to Goku and Vegeta, another Mahamud sequence was presented on Earth that was with the duo of Tenshinhan. This Mahamud sequence seemed to be an expert in dark martial arts, moving with supernatural agility, challenging the Z-Warriors with fast and lethal movements. Do not underestimate the strength of humans. Kikoho. Tenshinhan launched his powerful attack Kikoho, creating an explosion of energy that enveloped the Mahamud sequence. This is not an ordinary enemy. I must use my powers wisely. The chaos unleashed his energy, creating illusions and distractions to confuse the Mahamud sequence. The battle took place in multiple levels, with the Z warriors fighting against that enemy that seemed to understand the arts of combat in unexpected ways. At that moment, realizing that the power with which they faced the Mahamud sequence was not enough to stop him, thanks to the distraction of chaos, they took the opportunity to try to escape, but they did not have the great speed of their rival, who, realizing that they wanted to escape, caught them, disappearing from the place where they were and appearing in front of them.
At the precise moment in which he was about to eliminate Chaos and Tenshinhan, two people appear in the middle of them and their rival. They were Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta, with their fixed gazes on the Mahamud sequence, shared a silent understanding. The seriousness of the situation was clear in their faces, but there was no room for doubt. Tenshinhan, Chaos, go and warn the others about this threat. We need time to face this. We do not want them to get hurt because of us. Go, we will take care of this. Tenshinhan and Chao assented, recognizing the determination in the voices of the Saiyans. Without wasting time, they moved away at full speed, leaving Goku and Vegeta in front of their formidable opponent. The Mahamud sequence, emanating an overwhelming darkness, did not show signs of retreat. His eyes shone with malice, aware of the battle that was approaching. The Z warriors were prepared to face any threat, and this would not be the exception. It is clear that this will not be easy. It is what makes it exciting. Let's do it, Kakarot. Goku and Vegeta charged at the Mahamud sequence at an impressive speed. At the moment when both warriors were fighting a battle that could change the fate of the Earth, this being that appeared as the Mahamud sequence, this dark entity with a humanoid shape but bird's head, was going to be surprised by the skills of the Saiyan warriors. In the midst of the fight and all the demonstration of strength between both warriors and this dark being, Tagami, with a face of confusion but confident in his strength, was far superior to that of these terrifying warriors. He thought, I am surprised at the strength that these beings of the earth have. I suppose they deserve to know who will kill them. So at that moment he told them with a malevolent smile, I have been surprised, warriors. That is why they deserve to know my name. I am Tagami, sacred god of darkness, follower of the supreme god Mahamud. Goku, very surprised at what he heard, said, More gods? This sounds very dangerous and it is exciting. Insect, shut up. The life of the planet is at risk and you get excited about a being that is very powerful. The speed of the combat accelerated as Goku and Vegeta swung over Tagami. The energy in the air became dense, vibrating with the intensity of the imminent confrontation. Tagami with his dark aura remained firm, watching closely the Saiyans approaching. Do you think you have any chance against the power of darkness? Goku and Vegeta continued their advance without wasting time in unnecessary words. In a blink, they had in front of Tagami, unleashing a bundle of blows. Tagami with surprising agility dodged many of the attacks, but some managed to land, demonstrating the strength of the Saiyans. Do you underestimate the power of a Saiyan? Vegeta with his frown added, Come on, God of Darkness, show what you can do. Tagami, responding to the challenge, unleashed his own fury. His speed and combat skills were amazing, deflecting Goku and Vegeta's blows with subtle movements. The battle became a whirlwind of punches, kicks, and explosions from here, illuminating the sky with flashes of light and darkness. Ha ha ha! You are only insects in the face of the power of eternal darkness. Goku, in his base state, and Vegeta with his pride as Prince Saiyan, continued to pressure Tagami. However, as the battle advanced, Tagami began to reveal more of his true power. His dark aura intensified, and his shape changed subtly, revealing a transformation that increased his power exponentially. This can't be good. Goku, always excited by a challenge, added, Vegeta, get ready. This is getting interesting.
The increased power of Tagami created an overwhelming pressure on the battlefield. His speed drastically increased, and his strength eclipsed that of the Saiyans. However, Goku and Vegeta did not allow themselves to be intimidated. With determination, they raised their own levels of power, bringing the battle to new heights. The fight continued, with fast attacks and explosions that shook the battlefield. Goku and Vegeta, now in more advanced forms, kept up the pace, challenging Tagami at every step. However, despite his efforts, the sacred god of darkness proved to be a formidable adversary. Ha ha ha! This is entertaining, but his resistance is useless. The darkness consumes everything. Goku and Vegeta, without giving up, exchanged determined looks. Vegeta, it's time to go further. Yes, of course, Kakarot. While Chao and Tenshinhan hurried to warn the other Zeta warriors, the confrontation between Goku, Vegeta, and Tagami entered a new level of intensity. The fight for the fate of the universe was at its peak. The cosmic battle was unleashed on planet Earth, where darkness and light collided in a frantic dance of energy. Goku and Vegeta, the brave Saiyans, faced Tagami, the Hawk, the sacred god of darkness. The intensity of the combat resonated in the universe, and each movement threatened to tear the reality itself apart. Tagami, who had increased his power, floated in the air with an imposing presence and a dark aura. His eyes shone with malice as he watched the Saiyans, who remained firm, prepared to defend the fate of the planet. In response to the increased power of their enemy, Goku and Vegeta channeled their ki to the maximum, raising their power to the Super Saiyan. Vegeta, this guy is very strong, but that only means that the fight will be even better. Of course, Kakarot, this is our time to shine. Planet Earth vibrated with energy released by the three contenders. The distant stars seemed to parry before the magnitude of the conflict. The clouds dissipated such a demonstration of power. Tagami, with his increased speed, launched into Goku with a fistful of darkness. Goku, using his elasticity and speed, dodged gracefully, leaving a trail of flashes around him at the speed at which Tagami retaliated with his high-speed blows. Vegeta, with an explosion of ki, interposed between Goku and Tagami, blocking an attack that would have devastated his Saiyan partner. The explosive wave of the collision sent debris in all directions. I did not expect less from you, sacred god of darkness. Tagami, challenging, unleashed a series of dark bursts at Goku and Vegeta. The Saiyans responded with perfect synchronization, countering each attack with precise blows and energy waves. Ha ha ha! You are only insects in the face of the power of eternal darkness.
Damn, this guy is stronger than I thought. Goku, recovering, joined the battle again. Both Saiyans, aware that they were facing a formidable enemy, decided that it was time to take the fight to the next level. Vegeta, what do you think if we show what we can really do? Of course, Kakarot. Let's do it. Goku and Vegeta began to accumulate energy around him. The atmosphere was charged with the intensity of his ki as they unleashed their advanced forms. Goku transformed into the Super Blue Saiyan, while Vegeta assumed his evolved form, the Super Evolutioned Blue Saiyan. Are they taking each other seriously now? Goku and Vegeta, with their new forms, advanced towards Tagami, with a renewed determination. The speed and strength of the Saiyans were now incomparable. The impacts resonated like cosmic thunder, creating a symphony of destruction in the sky. The battle became even more intense. Goku and Vegeta coordinated their movements, attacked Tagami with impressive combinations of techniques and body-to-body attacks. The Falcon, despite his power, was overwhelmed by the ferocity of the Saiyans. The energy bursts, one blue and one gold, converged in a titanic explosion that enveloped Tagami. Light and darkness were mixed in a burst of dazzling colors. However, when the explosion dissipated, Tagami emerged once again, his slightly crooked form, but his determination intact.
His power is impressive, but I am a god. Darkness cannot be defeated so easily. Goku and Vegeta, without giving up, continued the offensive. The speed of their combat reached levels that challenged understanding. Punches and kicks exchanged in a fraction of a second, creating a glimmer of cosmic collisions. Big Bang Attack. Kaioken X20. The energy burst again, shaking the sky with its fury. However, Tegami, with his divine resistance, resisted the attacks. The battle spread through the cosmos, with the warriors disappearing and reappearing in flashes of light and shadow. In the middle of the fight, Goku and Vegeta began to feel overwhelming pressure. Tagami's darkness seemed to expand, even defying the limits of the most powerful Saiyans. Reality itself was twisted under the influence of dark energy. We cannot go back now, Kakarot. We must overcome this. Both Saiyans raised their powers even more. The fight reached its new peak of intensity. The energy exploded like fireworks in the vastness of the night sky, illuminating the darkness with flashes of determination and challenge. Tegami, in the epicenter of the storm, smiled sinisterly. Now you will see the true power of eternal darkness. The universe trembled as the battle reached its climax. The warriors fought for the fate of everything they knew. The question that persisted in the space was if the light of the Saiyans could overcome the darkness of the sacred god. Planet Earth was returning with the intensity of the cosmic battle. Goku and Vegeta, soaked in sweat, kept their advanced forms as they prepared for Tagami's next assault. The darkness emanated from his figure, but something seemed out of place. The skin of the dark god had a grayish tone, as if he had not yet completed the possession of his bearer. Tegami, with a guttural laugh, seemed to notice the perplexity in the expressions of the Saiyans. Surprised Saiyans? I have not yet revealed all my power. Goku and Vegeta exchanged bewildered looks. Something was not right, and both warriors felt it. At that moment, Tagami convulsed. His form trembled, as if he were fighting against something. An invisible force seemed to pull him from within. No, I have not yet taken complete control. Suddenly, a burst of dark energy enveloped Tegami, hiding him from sight. The Saiyans were on guard, prepared for any surprise. The energy in the air became denser, as if the cosmos itself was on the verge of transformation. What's going on? Before they could ask any more questions, the dark energy dispersed, revealing Tegami's true form. However, what they saw left them breathless. At the moment of reaching his true form, he let himself see the body he was possessing. This body was Yamcha's. Once the warriors saw that, Tagami completed his humanoid form with a bird's head. But now he clearly showed the true form of the sacred god of destruction. The hawk's head was clearly shown, with a defined musculature but a delegated body, wearing Egyptian clothes, blue with gold, bracelets and a golden necklace. Immense wings which disappeared and appeared at will. Now Tagami had something in his favor and was playing against the Saiyan warriors. Not only should he defeat them, but also avoid damaging Yamcha. It's Yamcha's appearance! Tagami's resounding laugh filled the space. Now completely in possession of Yamcha's body, the dark god showed an evil smile. That's right, Saiyans. This body is weak. It belongs to me now. Vegeta squeezed his teeth with fury. Damn it! How dare you oppose one of us? Not just one, Saiyan. Soon all of you will become behemoth puppets. The reality of the situation hit Goku and Vegeta with the force of a cosmic impact. The dark entity they faced was not only a dark god, but also had the power to possess the terrestrial warriors. Yamcha, now within the sacred god of darkness, had no sign of consciousness. The god had taken complete control of his being. There is no escape. Bahamut will be released, and this universe will fall into eternal darkness. Goku and Vegeta shared a determined look. They knew that the threat was now even greater. They were not only fighting against a dark god, but also facing the possibility of losing their friends and allies in this fight. Vegeta, we have to find a way to free Yamcha and stop Tegami. Of course, Kakarot. But first, we have to deal with this dark god. The battle continued, but now the situation was more desperate. Tegami, with Yamcha's body, unleashed an unstoppable fury. The Saiyans fought not only against eternal darkness, but also against the weight of facing one of their own companions. The explosions of energy illuminated the sky, but Goku and Vegeta's inner struggle was just as intense. Each blow and blast of ki resonated with the promise of freeing Yamcha and saving the universe from the threat of Bahamut. But Tegami was not going to give up easily. Do you think you can beat one of the sequins of the Devourer of Worlds? The dark energy intensified, and the definitive form of the sacred god of darkness, now with the freedom to use all his power, launched relentless attacks. Goku and Vegeta, with their advanced forms, fought with all their strength, but the darkness had a firm grip. The fight continued. Each moment seemed like an eternity. Yamcha, although he was only a container for Tegami, at one point in the fight showed signs of pain on his face. It was as if his own essence was fighting against the darkness that consumed him. Yamcha, hold on, we're going to get you out of this. But Goku's words were lost in the storm of the battle. Tegami, with a maniacal smile, continued his assault. The earth, witness to this cosmic contest, trembled at the magnitude of the confrontation between light and darkness. In a very distant place, Chaos and Ten Shinhan, after alerting the other Z-warriors about the threat, returned to the battlefield.
Seeing the situation, Ten Shinhan's face was filled with fury as Chao squeezed his fists with determination. Tegami, I'll make sure you pay for this. Both warriors joined the fight, but even with their skills, facing a dark god who possessed one of theirs would not be easy. The battle became a desperate struggle to save Yamcha and stop Bahamut before he was released. In the midst of chaos, Goku and Vegeta shared a look of determination. The darkness could be powerful, but the light of the Saiyans would shine even in the darkest moments. The battle for the fate of the universe was far from over, and the heroes of the Earth were willing to face any challenge that came in their way. Making a trip to the past, a day before the strange artifact impregnated Goku's chest, after rescuing his son Goten, Yamcha, alien to the imminent danger that was approaching, was exploring an ancient Egyptian pyramid during an archaeological expedition. The atmosphere was full of mystery and the promise of amazing discoveries. In the depths of the pyramid, Yamcha came across an ancient artifact that shone with a dim light. It was an Egyptian bracelet decorated with intricate hieroglyphics. Fascinated by its beauty and attracted by an inexplicable force, Yamcha could not resist and placed the bracelet on his wrist. The moment the bracelet touched his skin, a strange sensation enveloped Yamcha. It was not painful or threatening, but rather captivating. An ancestral connection was established between the Egyptian artifact. What Yamcha did not know was that this artifact contained an ancient power linked to the era of the gods and legends. As the light of the bracelet merged with Yamcha, an ancient presence awoke, and it was the essence of an ancient god who had already slept inside the artifact. However, this being was neither malevolent nor benevolent. It was simply an ancestral force that sought to join a mortal existence. Or, at least, it was what Yamcha felt at that moment. The god, by merging with Yamcha, gave him skills and knowledge beyond his comprehension. Yamcha felt full of strength and a connection with history itself. The fusion, although disconcerting at first, was a unique symbiosis between the territorial warrior and the divine entity. Yamcha did not know what that bracelet really was. Back to battle, each moment became more challenging with Goku, Vegeta, and the warriors of the Earth. Tagami, now completely released, unleashed a destructive force that put even the most powerful Saiyans to the test. In an effort to change the course of the battle, Tenshin, Ken, and Chaos joined the battle. Both warriors, aware of the threat represented by Tagami, launched into the cold with courage. Their unique skills and determination added a new dynamic to the conflict. But even with his intervention, the darkness persisted. Tenshin, hold the pressure. We cannot allow this darkness to take over our world. Tenshinhan assented, concentrating his energy on attacks coordinated with Goku. Vegeta, despite their combined efforts, Tagami remained an implacable adversary. While the battle reached its apex, Goku and Vegeta, exhausted but without losing determination, shared a look of mutual understanding. They knew they needed additional power to face Tagami in his maximum expression. At the moment, an idea crossed the minds of the Saiyans: the fusion. Vegeta, I know it's not something you prefer, but I think it's our only option. I don't like to admit it, Kakarot, but I agree with you. If we want to stop this monster, we need all the power we can get. Both warriors assumed the necessary positions to perform the fusion dance. Goku and Vegeta's energy intertwined in a brilliant flash. In a matter of seconds, a completely new warrior emerged, Gogeta in his base form, the supreme fusion of the two Saiyans. It seems that the occasion requires it. Now, Tagami, get ready. Tagami, seeing the fusion of the Saiyans, let out a challenging smile. Do you think your ridiculous fusion can face my power? Gogeta threw himself at Tagami with an amazing speed. The confrontation that followed was an exhibition of unparalleled skills. Gogeta dodged Tagami's attacks with grace, counterattacking with overwhelming strength. However, the darkness that enveloped the Dark God proved to be a formidable challenge. In the midst of the intense battle, Tenshin and Chaos continued to fight valiantly, but the price of the confrontation was already becoming evident. Tagami, taking advantage of the distraction, launched a devastating attack that left Tenshin and Chaos seriously injured. Goku and Vegeta, seeing their companions in danger, felt a wave of fury. Gogeta redoubled his efforts, attacking with renewed ferocity. However, Tagami, aware of the situation, turned his attention to Tenshin and Chaos. Feeling despair, Saiyans, soon this world will be witness to its end. Goku and Vegeta, full of rage and determination, increased their speed. They knew they needed to do something before Tagami met his threats. The battle reached its culminating point when Gogeta launched a massive attack on Tagami, seeking to break his resistance. However, the darkness that surrounded Tagami intensified, revealing a surprising resistance. It was then when Tenshin and Chaos, still on the ground, exchanged a determined look. They knew what they were going to do to give Vegeta the opportunity to defeat Tagami. Goku, Vegeta, you need time. I will take care of retaining this monster. I'll go with you. Tenshin, together we will be the barrier you need. Goku and Vegeta, although reluctant to lose their friends, went at full speed to avoid what they had in mind. Don't do it, Tenshin, Chaos. Tenshin and Chaos stood up, ignoring the pain that ran through their bodies. With determination, they faced Tagami, resisting his attacks with all their strength. When Gogeta saw the situation, he understood the magnitude of the sacrifice they were making. "We can't disappoint your sacrifice. We must win." While Tenshin and Chaos bravely fought against Tagami, Gogeta continued his assault with an intact intensity. The battle took place on two fronts, with the territorial warriors sacrificing themselves to provide the necessary opening. Goku and Vegeta, as they approached, their hearts were filled with sadness and gratitude towards Tenshin and Chaos. Gogeta, at supersonic speed, approached the scene where Tenshin and Chaos bravely faced Tagami. His gaze reflected the mix of determination and sadness, knowing that the sacrifices of his companions were the key to victory. "Hold on a little longer, guys. We're going to put an end to this." The fusion of the two advanced towards Tagami, who, upon seeing the arrival of Gogeta, stopped attacking Tenshin and Chaos to face the fused warrior. The intensity of the battle reached a new level, with attacks and counterattacks that resonated in the battlefield. Tenshin, with his remaining strength, took advantage of this distraction to hold all his forces to Tagami, preventing him from moving